Martha's Vineyard, known to be the summer retreat for the Obamas, the Clintons, Spike Lee, and reminiscent of lobster rolls and beach parties, adds laughter to the list of memories with this annual Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest. This August, the fest will be celebrating its 5th year anniversary of hosting one of the island's premier summer attractions. This year, we will feature comedians Damon Williams, LeVar Walker, Honest John, Mark Simmons, Just Nietzsche, Michi Hall, Michael Collier, and the hilarious Tony Roberts. Be sure to download our mobile app or visit us online at marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com for more information.
(6:10 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM, WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. Welcome to another edition. I'm your host, Art Chat Daddy Sims, back for another week of your favorite magazine show where we talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but most importantly, we hope that you enjoy the show each and every week and that you take away a lot of great information. So I'm super excited to be here with you guys for another Friday night edition. So you guys know how this works. You've had a long, stressful week. People been getting on your nerves, talking smack, whatever the case may be. When you listen to my show each and every Friday night, I want you to relax, relate, release, get your favorite beverage. You know how it works, whether it's a Long Island iced tea, sweet tea, hot tea, aloe vera juice, alkaline water, whatever it is, your beverage of choice right now, please get that beverage, put it on ice or heat it up, and let's sit back, relax, let's light some candles. It's time to feng shui. How are you, Helena? How's everything been?
Feeling good.
Good.
The weather's improved.
The weather has definitely improved. We had great weather here Wednesday in Chicago. It was actually 70-some degrees. It was beautiful. Today is not bad, but they're expecting the temperatures to drop this evening. I heard Annette mention that in her weather report, but don't worry about it. I got everybody covered. We're going to have a good time tonight. I have an action-packed show planned for you guys this Friday evening. During the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to talk about the recent plane crash that happened in the French Alps, and the pilot was suffering from depression, and you know, I actually have a story to tell about, you know, when I was a flight attendant. I have some former flight attendants coming in, as well as, you know, we're going to talk about that because people are in very pressure-driven positions nowadays. Whether you're a bus driver, police officer, school teacher, whatever the case may be, it's a lot of pressure out here. And we want to talk about, when do we know somebody's on the verge of snapping? When should you say something to a supervisor or a boss about somebody? You know, are you in people's business when you like, look, so-and-so a little weird? You know, and so we're going to talk about all of that during the 6 o'clock hour. Did I say 7 o'clock? I meant the 6 o'clock hour. So it should be a very, very interesting conversation.
Always.
A really good show.
I want people to see your bunny ears that you're wearing right
Yes,
now.
I am dressed like a bunny this evening because no bunny knows Friday Night Talk Radio better than this bunny sitting in this chair. You understand me? And I also have on very colorful shoes and socks. I know. But we're going to start having where people can see what goes on here in the studio because it's really, really exciting. So I want to talk about some of the things that happened since we last saw each other last week. The one thing that I want to send a shout out to is to the DeSable Museum. I attended the Night of 100 Stars last Saturday night. That is one of my favorite events every year, and it kicks off the gala season. And so they did an excellent job at the South Shore Cultural Center. It was wonderful as always. Plenty of food, plenty of drinks, beautiful people. My dear friend Val Warner and I took a $1 million photo. That was really good. I got to see a lot of other people. I just want to say congratulations to DeSable Museum on a job well done. Classy event each and every year, and I was just happy to be there, and it was really, really nice. And to everybody who complimented me about this radio show, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I had people on every level, every walk of life come up to me and say they really do enjoy listening to VON on Friday nights when I'm on the air. So I was very, very happy. So Monday night, Comedy Central did a roast to Justin Bieber. The used to be Justin Bieber. Now he's a new Bieber. He has new hair. He has a new attitude. And so people roasted him Monday night on Comedy Central. And I want to say this. Martha Stewart has a whole nother career as a stand-up comedian. That's all I'm going to say. That woman was funny. She did not break face. She was so on point about everything that she said. It was just absolutely incredible. So I want to congratulate her for being the funniest of all on that.
Great review. I saw it on Facebook. Someone sent me a clip of it, and they showed, of course, it was Martha Stewart doing her roasting, and I didn't know that Martha could be that funny.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you have good writers, you can be that funny too.
Okay.
But Martha,
but you have to be able to pull it off.
Oh, absolutely. But she did. But she did with her pan face and the way she is and that type of thing. Martha Stewart is hilarious, and she's hung out with enough people. I mean, you know, she wants to try Snoop Dogg's brownies.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
You know, like I said, I didn't know that was another side of Martha that I was unfamiliar with, and okay, I mean, you know, shout out to Martha Stewart. She was the star of the night. I would like to know how Snoop Dogg brownies are going to turn out, and how she's going to, whether or not I think. Well,
I'm sure Snoop Dogg's brownies turn out terrific each and every time. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they're the high point of eating them each and every time. So listen, when we come back from commercial break, I do have a surprise. See, I can't even say a surprise. I sound like a rabbit tonight. A surprise. I have a surprise celebrity guest who's going to come on and talk about his or her latest adventure. And we have a whole full show for you guys this evening. So get your beverage together, call your friends, call your family, tell them, are you listening to Chat Daddy? Real Talk, Real People. We'll be right back in just a moment. 6:23 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Art Chat Daddy Sims, back for another week of this here magazine show where we talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but most importantly, we hope you take away a lot of great information.
Absolutely.
And so we're back to give you what you need, a way to relax, debrief from the week. I want to congratulate all of the women who were women of excellence today from the Chicago Defender. They had their ceremony today at the Hyatt Regency on Wacker. Congratulations, lady, the 2015 inductees. And that was very, very nice. I heard it was a great event. I also want to congratulate stand-up comedian Trevor Noah, 31 years old. He has been named the new host of The Daily Show. He will be the third host. And he's replacing Jon Stewart, who's stepping down after a 17-year run. There was some controversy because he had some tweets that were inappropriate and weren't working right and didn't do what they need to do and all of that stuff. So I want to congratulate him on getting that position and doing what he needs to do. And I want to remind everybody to please, in Chicago, make sure you go vote April 7th. April 7th is election day here in Chicago. It decides who our mayor will be, as well as the automatic runoff. So please, please, please make sure you vote. And early voting ends tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it does end tomorrow. What else we got going on? What you got going on?
Well, you know what? This week was a big thing with Jay-Z has this new streaming rate, what do you call it?
Streaming video service, right?
Yes,
Music service,
Tidal.
right.
And that was a big. I didn't know what it was at first. All of a sudden, my social media pages were just jumping off the hook. You know?
Right.
So this is supposed to be a high quality music sharing site, something like Pandora or Spotify.
Okay.
But it's high quality and it costs $20 a month.
Absolutely, but then is it unlimited music for $20 a month?
See, I don't know that level of detail. You get 30 days for free, and then I don't know. There's some add-ons to it. So, but the base thing is $20.
And is the music mine for $20 a month? No, what I'm saying is once I sign up, do I get to download these songs kind of like iTunes, or where with iTunes I buy each song that I want to have. So that's why I'm kind of wondering, or is it just such a premium stream with no commercial, that type of thing, that it's $20 a month? Because that's a lot.
That's a lot, and a lot of people are really concerned about that. I mean, that's just one of the prices. I mean, that's the base one. There are other prices for other, I don't know, maybe you can download, I don't know what that would cost, what the other fee would be for that. But the big thing is, people who already use Spotify or use Pandora, they don't understand, they're not seeing the purpose of paying for something. So I do know 2 people who said they're going to try for free, the 30 days for free, just to see, how is it different from Spotify, for example.
Right,
so,
right.
I might even try just to see for free.
Okay, interesting. Keep me posted and let me know how that goes. Okay, very good. Did you watch any television this week?
I did watch television this week, of course. I saw Scandal, which came on last night. I saw Being Mary Jane this week.
Now, with Being Mary Jane is really, a lot of people are watching it. I've heard good, bad, and indifferent. What was your take on Being Mary Jane this week?
You know what, she's touching on a lot of different issues that affect the Black community. And this time she talked about beauty. One of the segments had to deal with women being considered Black women not being considered attractive. And I found it interesting because also this week in Cosmo magazine, they also did an article, I don't know if you saw the article, where they compared Black women, well, they looked like there was like, you know how they do like what's in and what's out, that type of comparison. Okay, well, they had pictures of like Sierra was, her look, like the dark, her dark tresses, whatever, the dark at the top and the blonde at the bottom was considered to be an outlook, and then the in looks were the white women. So all of the pictures had Black women, their looks were out, and all the white women, their looks were in, side by side. So it was interesting that the show was about, you know, part of one of Being Mary Jane segments was about women, Black women in beauty, and then Cosmo comes down under some controversy because of the ad they put out regarding what's in and what's out.
Well, you know what's so funny is that Bill Dukes has done this piece on light skin, dark skin, and that's a discussion that we're going to have here on Real Talk, Real People, because in 2015, we still hate on each other because of skin tone and texture and hair texture, and I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. So I can't wait to, you know, put this segment together so we can have this conversation, because it's so needed right now in this day and age, and with all the racial stuff that we're going through in this country, you know, we hate on each other just for being light and dark.
We do.
Yeah, so quite interesting. So what else is going on?
What else this week is going on? Like I said, unfortunately we don't have no Empire coming out, so I mean for right now.
Yeah, it was a hoax on the internet that Empire had been canceled. And so I wanted everybody to know that definitely was an April Fool. Oh yeah, it was going around April Fool's Day, then it went around the next day that Empire had been canceled. Empire has not been canceled. That is a cash cow for Fox. All of those actors and actresses are doing a great job. Matter of fact, Hakeem and is it Jamal, the youngest one?
Well, Hakeem's the youngest. And
Jamal is the middle one. They are on tour right now.
I saw.
So they're promoting their music. They're going from city to city. They're meeting people. So no, everything is beautiful with that situation.
I think that was, like I said, but anything that came out on April 1st on social media declaring anything supposed, I just didn't pay attention to it because I knew it was probably a joke. You even did an April Fool's joke.
I did a great April Fool's joke. I really did. I posted a video of a departing plane, and it was me sitting in the seat, and the plane was taking off. And I said that Hollywood had called and given me my big break, and I was gone, and I'll see y'all later. And it worked. It worked. About 500 people thought it was the best thing that they've seen since sliced bread. But no, my big break didn't happen. Once I got to LA, they told me it was April Fool's Day, and the appointment had been scheduled on down the road. But we're not going to worry about that. So listen, when we come back from commercial break, we're going to talk about certain stresses in particular jobs. If you're a police officer, a dispatcher, a school teacher, a waiter, waitress, whatever the case may be, you may be in a very stressful situation, and how do you handle the stress? And here's the deal, if you're working around somebody and they know, you know they're stressed out, how do you know if they're going to snap or not? So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about stress on the job. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. We'll be right back.
Live from the WVON.
Martha's Vineyard, known to be the summer retreat for the Obamas, the Clintons, Spike Lee, and reminiscent of lobster rolls and beach parties, adds laughter to the list of memories with this annual Martha's Vineyard Comedy Fest. This August, the fest will be celebrating its 5th year anniversary of hosting one of the island's premier summer attractions. This year, we will feature comedians Damon Williams, LeVar Walker, Honest John, Mark Simmons, Just Nietzsche, Michi Hall, Michael Collier, and the hilarious Tony Roberts. Be sure to download our mobile app or visit us online at marthasvineyardcomedyfest.com for more information.
6:40 p.m. right here on the top of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Art Shack Daddy Sims, back for another week of this here magazine show where we talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but most importantly, we hope that you take away a lot of great information on this show, that you're entertained each and every Friday night. Listen, if you have an idea or a suggestion you want to be on the show, please send me an email at shackdaddy@wvon.com, and that way we can kind of get you on the show. Let me hear what your story's all about. We're going to talk about what your life is doing and where you've been. I got some interesting stories coming up for you guys in April. Some stories that are real tearjerkers. I want to say thank you to the 2 ladies who were on last Friday night who shared their testimonies with this listening audience about child abuse, being raped in prison, and you know, just those ladies. Everywhere I went this week, people just said, Art, those ladies were amazing. So I have some even greater stories coming on this show in the next couple of weeks, so just brace yourself. Even though we do have fun and a good time, we definitely talk, straight talk with everybody about how life is and what things are all about. This past Sunday, we all heard the tragic news about the German Wings flight 9525, which crashed in the French Alps. The plane was headed to Dusseldorf, Germany, and it was where the pilot had stepped out of the cockpit, went to use the lavatory, and when he came back, the co-pilot would not let him in, and the next thing you know, the plane crashed into the Alps. Being a former flight attendant, this story really, really touched my heart in many different ways. So tonight we're getting ready to have a conversation about just people in very stressful jobs and situations. The funniest thing is I was in search of former flight attendants to talk about this, and one of my dearest friends is here with me tonight, Miss Tamara Baggett. Hey Tamara, welcome back to the show.
Hey Art, thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And the funniest thing was, and not funny haha, but coincidental, was when this happened, I said, oh my goodness, I've been in a couple of situations as a flight attendant and saw captains having maybe one too many to drink or partying a little too hard or Denzel Washington in the movie Flight. Right. I mean, so it kind of makes you wonder, and we're getting ready to go into the travel season. We're getting ready to go on spring break, so you kind of want to know, let me make sure I'm traveling with the right person. And so I've also invited a psychologist to come on the show tonight. I have Dr. Cotton. Good evening, doctor. Are you there? How are you? Thank you so much. And last but not least, I have one of my dearest friends. He always just comes on the 87th Street bus, get off right in front of the station. He got his transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago's very own actor and comedian, Mr. Michael Collier, is back with us this evening. Welcome back. My pleasure.
And frequent flyer.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's how. Right. No, yeah, I know you frequent CTA and you frequent flying. So we got you. We got you. No, but the conversation I want to have tonight, and Michael, you and I were talking just the other day about you are on and off planes all the time. And absolutely. And it kind of, you know, you was like, no, I second guess.
In that cockpit, what's going on?
Right, so let me kind of set up my story, and Tamara can kind of back this up. This is why I'm so glad to have her here. So a couple of years ago when I was a flight attendant, Rio was my route. And oh, absolutely, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil was my route. And I enjoyed it. We spent a lot. We stayed in Rio a lot.
Flight too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And we're talking Fort Lauderdale is where we used to fly from, or Miami first to Rio, and then it was like an 8-hour flight. But then we had like a 3-day layover in Rio. We had a 3-day layover.
That ain't a bad layover.
No, not at all. And so here's the beautiful part about this. The captain would always treat us to a meal while we were on our layovers. Yes. And so this one particular night, we had Captain Machismo, you know, you're all-American, you know, I'm from Utah or wherever, and he's all whatever. So he treated us all out to dinner. We drank bottles of wine. We had a good time, but wasn't nobody interested in him, okay? Get what we're saying? Right. You fly the plane. I don't believe, you know, don't mess with what fly the plane, right? Okay.
That's right.
So long story short, it was time for us to leave the place where we were at, and we were waiting on the crew van to take us back to the hotel. Well, he ended up picking up a young lady while he was standing there. But while he was standing there picking up this young lady, I kind of noticed that maybe she quite wasn't all female. You know what I'm saying? Because you know Brazil is the capital of plastic surgery and sex changes. You understand? So when she went to get in the van with us, I was sitting next to her and she was laying and grinning on him and skinning and all that. And I leaned over and I said, masculino female? And she says, no, female. I said, okay, whatever. If I had some tea, I'd have sipped it, okay? Wow. So I was sitting there, I looked at her again. Well, when he finally got her to the hotel, the hotels in Brazil, if you bring a guest, they are obligated, they have to tell you, you do know what you done picked up, right? And so he was embarrassed in front of all of us. He was embarrassed in front of his guests. He didn't know, whatever. And I said then, and this had to have been what, almost 10 years ago, Tamir? I said, what if this man snapped? You know what I'm saying? Like, this the dude that's supposed to drive us back, drive us. Y'all know I'm from down south. Drive the airplane back to the States. But, I was concerned then. And
Right,
Tamir,
exactly.
come on.
Right, for somebody to pick up what he thought was a female and he's in front of all of us boasting and everything, and this person turns out to be a drag queen or whatever we want to call them.
Right.
I'm like, oh, he gonna be mad at somebody. Ain't gonna know what he could do.
That always made me wonder, as a former flight attendant, like, look, how do we know if people in certain positions are well all the time? Just because we see them doing well or we think that they're the captain. Now, doctor, you were a flight attendant for a major airline for a number of years before you became a doctor, correct? And you and I were talking earlier about, like, back in the day, flight attendants and pilots didn't hang out with each other, right? Go ahead, tell your story. Right.
We definitely.
Right. Well, here's the deal. We worked for an airline that did a lot of charters, even though they had commercial service. And when we did these charters, we would be in places for days. It was not uncommon to be in Tokyo for 7 days on a layover, any of that. So during that time period, the captain would say, hey, I'm taking everybody to dinner, Saturday night, and we'd all go to dinner and eat and drink on his expense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it just makes you wonder how safe these people are. Like, Michael, when you get on a plane, is there anything that you say to, and we know you're a comedian, but you also a human and want to get there safely. So what do? Do you go up there and check their breath?
I do try to look and speak to the captains. I always look in the cabin to see who's in there.
Okay.
And I speak. I don't know really what I do if I saw something I didn't like, but I know if one of them walked past me and had alcohol in their breath, that the plane ain't leaving. I can tell you that right now. That plane ain't leaving. I'm already so much hell that plane is not gonna leave. Even if they think they're going to arrest me and take the plane out, the plane ain't going to leave because I'm going to report that. I'm going to stop that, But I always check. I always make sure I speak to the captain. I stick my head all the way in. How y'all doing today? Y'all having a good day? Because I want to see if they look a little odd, a little off. Because once they close that door, we don't have any more control.
No, you don't. Because this man, coerce this man to leave this cockpit. Here in the United States, the new rule since September 11th is that a flight attendant or another crew member must come in the cockpit. Right. But then on my last flight, I didn't see that either. I just know they stand up there by the door and they tell you not to congregate by the door.
Right. I think over a period of time, things have gotten, I don't want to say laxed, but that is probably the best word, where when 9/11 first happened, it was adamant. We were doing so many things. And now they're starting to relax some of those rules and everything. They assume it's safe. They're assuming before that person even gets to the plane that they've gone through all of the right safety mechanisms and checked this and taken their bottle of water, and they don't have matches and things.
Yeah, but now I'm not worried as much as about my fellow passengers as I'm worried about the people in the cockpit. So when we come back from commercial break, we're going to get into the minds of people. We're going to ask the doctor a couple of questions, and we're going to continue this conversation. We'll be right back. 6:54 p.m. right here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Art Chat Daddy Sims, back for another week of This Here Magazine show, where we're talking about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But right now we're talking about the German Wings plane crash that happened this past Sunday, where the 28-year-old pilot Andreas Lubitz, actually 27 years old, deliberately crashed a Dusseldorf, Germany. I know I pronounced that quite well.
Sound like somebody get on your ankle.
Absolutely. Into the French Alps less than an hour after departing Barcelona. sad situation. I have Dr. Cotton on the line. So doctor, let's pick this apart a little bit. I have the one and only Mr. Michael Collier and my good friend Tamara Baggett here with us as well. How does depression get in our minds to begin with? Where does it come from, Doc? What is that all about? Okay. Right. So Doc, they had prescribed him medicine, and either he had stopped taking it or was taking it. And I'm talking about the pilot who died in the crash, but now here's the deal. Most of the antidepressants make you where you can't drive, or they make you sleepy, or you know, so I'm trying to figure out, you know, he had to been doing a lot of lying about his health condition to be able to do that. You know, I'm wondering, like, you drove to the airport and then you drive the plane, or you flying the plane.
Someone's not checking. Someone needs to be checking.
So I want to do this as well too. For people who are police officers, firemen, police dispatchers, anybody who's in a very, very stressful position, how would you best suggest that they handle their stress? What are some ways to handle it? I mean, we all joke about alcohol, or, you know, smoke a little something, or whatever the case may be, but I'm sure there's better ways. What are some of the ways that you would recommend? Okay, Doc, real quick, I gotta go to the news, and when I come back from the news, hold your thought, and I hate to cut you off, but then I gotta do this, we gotta pay these bills around here, and when we come back, I want you to continue your thought, okay? We'll be right back. We're gonna go to the national news. We'll be right back. I'm right here on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM WVON. You're listening to Real Talk, Real People. I'm your host, Art Chat Daddy Sims, back for another week of this little magazine show where we talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But most importantly, we hope that you are enjoying yourselves this Friday night. Happy Good Friday, everybody. happy Passover, and happy Easter. May everybody have a safe and wonderful holiday weekend. Remember, it's all about love, good energy, and happiness. Right now, we're talking about the tragic plane crash that happened last weekend, the German Wings plane that crashed into the French Alps. And I have my good friend, Miss Tamara Baggett, here in studio, former flight attendant. She still works in the travel industry. Actor and comedian, Mr. Michael Collier, is here with us, who is on an airplane every week.
In attendance.
And in attendance. You almost need to be a flight attendant.
Yes.
You know? And then we have the one and only Dr. Cotton. Dr. Cotton, we love you. How are you? Good, good, good. My pleasure. We're going to go to the live line. We have Jay Rock in Oak Brook. Jay, welcome to the show. How are you? You have a question, Jay? Good. How you doing? Yes. Right. Right. Interesting comment. Thanks, J Rock. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Doc. What were you going to say?
And you don't know when they're gonna go. You don't know when that's gonna kick in. Whatever's bothering them.
No,
You don't
right.
know.
You don't.
They could keep it to themselves for a long time. Yeah.
Well, now, Michael, great point that you brought up, and we kind of were talking. Doc, how would we tell somebody it's okay? Or a lot of times when people tell you, oh, things are not right, we tend to brush it off or you know, not think
not
it's,
do
you
anything
know,
with it.
Right.
How do you tell your friend, maybe you should go see
Well,
a
I'm
doctor?
even worse than that. When they tell me it's not all right, I try to convince them that everything really okay, depending on how you look at
Right, because
it.
we don't know how
really?
to even
Okay,
handle
And
it.
okay.
then they walk away thinking that I got them convinced, and then they walk into the room and close the door. So, you know,
Okay,
how do you
okay.
tell? What do you do?
Doc. Mm-hmm. Right. Because, you know, I even look at the CTAL driver who allowed the train to crash into the terminal of the airport, and she talking about she was sleepy. You know, I'm thinking, it's got to be more than that. Then you don't let a train drive up in an airport. I mean, you know, we see so many crazy situations out here, and I don't mean that in the wrong way, but just off situations that, you know, so what if you do see somebody that you think might present a problem? How do you present that to an employer or you know, their family member or a friend? Right. Right. It's so funny. The guys who I drink coffee with every Sunday, we made a pact last Sunday that if any of us ever started slipping, we wouldn't be offended by saying to each other, dude, something is wrong. Are you okay? You know. So Doc, how would you tell somebody, you know, I think things may not be quite right with you?
Just that.
And look, Doc, how do black folks tell each other that versus how mainstream people tell? Because you know, black folks, you.
But I want to know this. Does that mean we're helpless as passengers? That our hands are tied once we walk on that plane? That's just it. It is what it is.
Yeah. But it is like that. It's like that every day.
It's not. Okay, this is an unusual situation, but how do we know that there won't be an unusual situation next week?
And I don't.
We don't. But 1 second, Doc. But we do put our trust in this we do put our trust though in this public system. We spend this money trusting that there are professionals there who's gonna protect us and keep folks from showing up nutty and killing us.
Yeah, but then okay, let's look at the police officer in New York who snapped on the Uber driver. Let's look at. There was a gentleman that was an Uber driver and a police officer. He was blowing his horn, wanting him to get out the way, and he got in his face and talked about him so bad, and it was being recorded. And the guy exposed this. It was a detective or somebody with a big title or whatever. Here's the deal: you have all these people with all this power, and you know, I tell people, you know, power can make you crazy too. You know what I'm saying? So if you already got something going on and now you powerful and you got all this and whatever, it can really cause you to have that kind of problem or issue, you know? So, I don't know, very, very interesting. So, Tamira. Right. Right.
Now, do you work for the airline? Okay, all right, go ahead.
No, she used to. The reason why I wanted everybody to be past airline employees in this segment is that I don't want to put anybody in trouble with their current airline. So she was a former flight attendant, now a doctor. Tamira is a former flight attendant, working other aspects of the travel industry. Before I let you guys go, Tamira, what advice would you give to somebody who may be getting ready to go to their family reunion right now, or, you know, they scared to fly? I saw somebody on Facebook today talking about, I got to get enough nerve up to fly, but now this man, you know how You know how those type of things go. So what advice would you give the traveling public?
That you just need to relax, enjoy what you were about to do, because whether it be a pilot that had a breakdown or whatever he had, that could happen at any point in your life. Somebody driving down the street could have a breakdown in a car and run up on the side of the road and hit you. So don't have fear because of the airline industry. Just try to be, you know, walk with whatever faith you have that today I'm going to be good and I'm going to be here tomorrow. That you shouldn't be scared to fly, drive, walk, or anything else. Because we don't know what is going on with anybody. It could be the person sitting next to you, you know, on the bus or wherever. You cannot be scared because this incident has happened. It's an isolated incident.
Just calm to me.
Now, Michael, let me, since you on and off planes continuously, that type of thing, what advice would you, or what things would you like to see differently on airplanes? You kind of had mentioned earlier, you know, people that don't want to wear deodorant and all that kind of stuff. So, you know,
you know, I believe in live and let live. I mean, you come on your plane and you come on to have a comfortable flight.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for anything terrible to happen. I don't expect anything terrible to happen. I do speak to the cockpit crew when I come in, because I do want to take a quick peek at them and see if they look like everything all right. I guess that gives me more assuredness, but I don't want anything more. I just want better seats. But I just get on the plane and fly. Like I said, I fly every weekend. I'll be on at 6 a.m. tomorrow, heading back to LA. I get on every weekend to go somewhere to perform or to work or to speak. And I'm pretty comfortable. I get my best rest on planes.
Okay, so you're not fearful of resting and that type of thing.
I give me a sandwich in the window and bundle up my little blankie.
You sound
and I'm asleep. When the plane lands, I'm at my next spot. You know, and you can't really go around being fearful. Because really when it's your time, it's your time. You can say I'm never getting on a plane because I'm not going to get killed on a plane. You can be driving down the street and the plane can crash into your car.
Which is
so
true.
when it's your turn, it's just going to be your turn.
Okay, before I let you guys go real quick, because I got to go to the next segment. Michael, how's your music video coming? What you got coming up? Doc, I'm going to come back to you in just a second.
Thank you. It is coming so well. I mean, we just added Solo Redline, who's an underground rap artist here, who usually is in the L stations talking to underground. He has 30 million hits. So we just added him to it. So we have Twister on it, The Brat. I'm very excited that Brandy has joined us, because Brandy is opening on the 28th of April. She's opening on Broadway. She is the lead in Chicago. She's playing Roxy Hart.
Really? So that's an exclusive. Thank you. We're glad to get that.
And David Hollister is putting his music down this week. And we also have Queen Nuisance and GLC. And GLC just got a new album deal that he's doing with Kanye West and Dame Dash. So we have like 9 amazing artists that's on it. All the money is going to be used to create musical programs. So when we ask these brothers to put the guns down, we're going to also have programs to walk them to and try to turn them into young Jay-Z's. So it's coming along really, really good. All the spiritual society is behind us here. You know, I just talked to Father Flager again, and Bishop Meeks and T.L. Barrett, and of course Minister Farrakhan and Jesse. And I mean, everyone's behind us on doing this, because it's time for us to take back our streets and for us to be great examples to the young men. So thank you for letting me mention that.
Are you kidding me? It's my pleasure. That's why I'm always glad to have you here. Whenever you come in, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And the work that you're doing to stop all this mess in the streets is beautiful. And so when you do premiere the video, I make sure you premiere it here on the show.
Thank you. And it's called The Soundtrack of Our Lives, because in Chicago, gunshots and sirens have become the soundtrack of our lives. And anyone who has interest in getting involved can email me at comicking123@aol.com, and it's really a beautiful thing, and we're doing it in animation.
Oh, good.
So it's going to be fly.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you. God bless you.
My pleasure. Tamara Baggett, travel professional. How do people reach you?
Facebook.
Okay.
Tamara Baggett at Facebook.
Okay, very good. And Dr. Cotton, I love you, darling. Tell everybody how they can reach you, find out more about you. And you're going to come on with me down the road in the next couple of weeks to talk about some other things. So, pleasure. Tell the audience how they can get in touch with you. Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Great job. So listen, if you guys are going on spring break, family holiday, whatever the case may be, if you got faith in God, then don't worry about that airplane. Do
Get
not
on that
worry
plane.
about that train. Do not worry about that bus. Whatever it is, let your faith carry you far. I want to thank you guys so much for this segment tonight. This is really important. Absolutely. My pleasure. Happy holiday. Thank you so much. Okay, so when we come back, you guys, we're going to talk to transplants, people who moved to Chicago, whether it was for a career, a relationship, whatever the case may be, and I'm going to pick their brains to find out what they like about Chicago, what they're lukewarm about Chicago, and what they absolutely hate about Chicago.
Great.
We'll be right back. Good job. That was good. That was good. That was excellent.
What's your